F1 25 just got a post-launch content update, and it's a first of its kind for the F1 game, as it all revolves around the F1 movie. We had a preview chapter available at the launch of F1 25, and now we have got all 7 chapters unlocked and playable. These 7 chapters all tie in directly to scenes and parts of F1 the movie. So at this point in the video, I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but spoiler alert, if you haven't seen F1 the movie yet in cinemas, if you continue to watch this video, it potentially might spoil some aspects of the film. The actual clips from the film, which you can watch yourselves if you were to boot up F1 25, there's a big chance in the final cut of this video on my channel that I can't include them because of copyrights. But like I said, if you're really itching to know the context of each chapter with those clips, you can see them for yourselves on F1 25, or I'm sure other people will upload them on YouTube and not worry about the copyright. But let's get into this then. We're going to be doing a full playthrough of all 7 chapters of F1 the movie on F1 25 on expert mode. Let's go. So the initial preview chapter has us go to the Silverstone test day halfway through the season at the request of his old friend and teammate Ruben. Former Formula 1 driver Sonny Hayes arrives for the Apex GP circuit test day, but he'll have to show them that he still has what it takes behind the wheel.
Right, Sonny, I'm not saying it's been a while since you've been in an F1 car, but, you know, it's been a while since you've been in an F1 car, so take it easy on this outlap and just get gently acquainted with the car, eh?
So it is a tie-in with the F1 25 game, because we've got Mark, the engineer from the rest of the F1 game, here inside of this gameplay and being quite brutal with Sonny, let's say, at his assessment of this initial test, these initial laps. So we're getting up to speed with the Apex GP car, which I spoke about previously on the, the build up to the F1 25 launch happening. I got to play this preview chapter a bit early, and I uploaded a video then speaking about there really is a very unique handling model to this specific car. In real life it was a modified Formula 2 car, and in the game here it kind of feels like it. There's a lot more understeer on the front end. It's maybe not as responsive as any of the other official F1 cars in other modes in the game. So yeah, the preview, it's a test day. It literally is actually quite useful to get up to speed with this slightly altered car, because you're going to need it then in later chapters when we're actually racing. But for now, it's all about the lap time.
Right, that is solid stuff, mate. I like it. Now I want to see if we can get you within a second of Joshua's time, so let's push now.
So just like in F1 the movie, we have got to try and get within a second of Joshua Pearce's time. It's our own, made-up metric, playing as Sonny Hayes this is, his own made-up metric of, am I still capable of hacking it in Formula 1? Can I get within a second of this rookie that Apex GP have at the moment in the car? You can see a little bit of a mistake from me going in towards the field, just a lot of understeer on the left-hander before going through the right of Le Field, but just trying to keep it on the track, really, not make a massive mistake anywhere. Hot lap mode engaged, using overtake mode where we can, and we'll run you through the entire lap just so you can see basically how the car is handling. And also, this is the entirety of the preview chapter gameplay, is this hot lap and this test session basically. But yeah, we beat the target time and we'll trigger a ending cutscene, and that's the same case in all the chapters you're about to see, is when you meet the objectives, kind of like in the actual story mode of F1 25 Breaking Point, you trigger the cutscene to progress the story. So the architecture of this mode with the F1 movie kind of follows along the lines of F1 25 story mode, if you've played that.
What was his lap time?
He passed.
So that takes us then to the British Grand Prix proper, several races into the season in the world of F1 the movie. Chapter 1 then, it all begins here. As the grid heads into Silverstone, Apex GP hope a revitalised driver lineup led by their newly signed veteran, Sonny Hayes, will kickstart their campaign.
What is this guy doing?
He's using those warm tyres to carve his way through the back of the field.
Okay, that's a great start, Sonny. Let's push.
So after that masterclass strategy on the formation, I mean, it's such genius that Williams and Sainz used it in real life in the Austrian Grand Prix just gone by. We've now got warm tyres, we're up to P19, and our objective here in Chapter 1 for now is simple, catching up to Lance Stroll before lap 6. Haven't mentioned this, by the way, but if you're wondering about the colour grading and it being quite dark and bleak in this video so far, it's not me, it's not anything to do with the editing. This is how the game actually is, as they've tried to mimic the kind of film grain, the film color grading as it was on screen. I got to be completely honest, I don't think they've matched it really. It looks a lot duller than it actually is in the movie clips they use in this very mode, and if you went to go see it in cinema, it wasn't this grayed out. I feel like they maybe overdid it a little bit, but hey, what can you do? As we now overtake Logan Sargent, our fellow American. This is, of course, driving as Sonny Hayes. Just thought I'd get the elbows out, just like he was doing in the film.
Plan B, box.
Pearce and Hayes go battling it out.
Okay, keep it clean now, Joshua.
So now we're swapping over into the cockpit of Joshua Pearce, and our objective is catching up to Sonny before lap 8. He's just come out after that pit stop. He's, I think, 1 or 2 cars ahead on track right now in this scenario, so maybe doesn't fully line up with how it was in the film, but I think we'll try and line up in terms of catching him at the right moment. If you watch the film, you'll know what I mean in terms of catching him at the right moment, as we look to try and pass Kevin Magnussen first of all, going to Magda Beckett's full commitment here, getting to grips with this car, feeling a lot more comfortable than I was on the initial laps in the preview chapter for sure. And I think also just race conditions versus the AI, just feeling a bit more confident, as it was the case in story mode. Even expert mode is probably not hard enough for those of us that play the F1 game a lot. As we catch up now a lap later, lap 4 to Sonny Hayes towards down the back straight, and this is going to line up perfectly for what we saw in the film.
Tough one, man.
Oh dear, things are not going too great for Apex GP. We now move through into Chapter 2 at the Italian Grand Prix. Monza could provide Apex GP drivers Sonny Hayes and Joshua Pearce with a rare opportunity to surprise the fans and outperform the top teams. But with rain threatening, are they pushing their luck to breaking point? Get it? Breaking point in F.
Pearce looks to be in a great position to finish in the top 10.
Okay, Sonny, let's just start to put some pressure on those ahead of us.
Okay, so while others are pitting, we are getting the track position with both our drivers, Joshua Pearce and Sonny Hayes. Rain coming, so the strategy is trying to get to the rain, get that track position, maybe then pit onto inters, or maybe not even doing that. Really throwing the biggest gamble you've ever seen. Coming away, obviously I've seen the film now over the weekend, and hopefully if you made it to this point of the video, you've seen the film, so we can talk about it a little bit. I feel like the story and everything that was going on in that film was pretty much like a career mode on steroids. Like all the tactics you would maybe use if you weren't as quick as the AI in a career mode on the F1 game, that was the tactics on show in that film. Throwing the dice every single opportunity, as we do make quick work of Valtteri Bottas, now giving Ricciardo the good old infamous Sonny squeeze. I'm gonna coin it, because we saw that was the big ticket move that Sonny pulled out the restart of the film in the endurance race just before he was thrust into the world, or back into the world of Formula One. As we get very aggy with Albon, we're just we're trying to role play as much as we can here within this video, and so we just need to be very aggressive. We need to be hitting people and knowing that nothing's going to be done about it, basically. So that's I think we're playing it realistically to how they would have wanted us to, playing F1 the movie in the game. As we catch up to Gasly, it's a big old dive bomb, and we're up into P11.
Just 7 laps to go, and here comes the rain.
What's Sonny gonna do? Take a while. I'm staying out. Copy that.
Okay, Joshua, let's push. You're now P4.
So we're both staying out in the wet on the dry tyres. A lot of cars and drivers in this race gone on to the intermediates, but it's just Verstappen and us at Apex GP on the slick tyres. Verstappen on hards. We're on medium. So if we're talking about the F1 game physics, this should give us the advantage. You know, having the softer compound will help in the tricky conditions. I gotta say though, I thought I was maybe going to struggle in this chapter when the rain came, because obviously on F1 25 the AI are so overpowered in the wet, but within this game mode only, the AI aren't OP, and there was actually a lot of grip out here. I think, you know, trying to mimic what we saw in the film where, you know, they had no issues, you know, driving around in such wet conditions on the slick tyres up until the big, you know, let's say moment that is about to happen as we close up to Max Verstappen. But we've made quick work of Leclerc. It is so dark here with the colour grading and then also just the darkness of the clouds here in Monza, but we can just about see the black and gold of the Apex GP as we navigate through towards Verstappen. On the minimap, you can see Sonny Hayes is actually ahead of Verstappen here, holding him up a lap down, and so it's another bit of big teamwork play. We're no stranger to that from the My Team series in Monaco. Is Sonny going to do us a favour here and just hold up Verstappen? I was curious to see if we could see there's some gameplay with it, but we're going to go to a cutscene.
Tell JP to wait for the straight into turn 1. Be patient.
See an opening. Go for it. No, no. GP! Oh, no!
Always listen to your elders. Always listen to your elders, people. That was just foolish. He said turn 1. That was not turn 1. That was the last turn, brother. What was going on there? Chapter 3 then. The Dutch Grand Prix a few weeks later. Sonny Hayes takes on Zandvoort with Apex GP Technical Director Kate's upgraded car. The battle-ready car.
Okay, nice move, Sonny. Well done. Now let's make use of that upgrade and push.
So at this point now in the film and in these chapters, we have got the upgraded Apex GP car. All the upgrades on, well, it's seemingly one upgrade on the floor to give us unbelievable levels of downforce and lack of dirty air. If only I could get an upgrade like that on the My Team car, for goodness sake. Where can we hire a Kate in our My Team series? That would come in handy, to be honest, to try and fight for the championship sooner rather than later. Anyway, I digress. We get through into the Dutch GP in the middle of a wet and wild one, and, you know, trying to be accurate to the role playing. We got it a little bit wrong here, being a bit over aggressive with our fellow compatriot Logan Sargent, but there was an almighty collision there. We're gonna roll that back and do it again, but I just wanted to include this. That was lore accurate. That was lore accurate. Okay. Anyway, we're going to roll back the tapes and try that one again and try and catch up to Ocon before lap 18. Cortez, by the way, is the stand-in at Apex GP. Poor bloke. He's been thrown into the deep end and he's got no chance. But we're going to try and get Logan Sargent, who, to be fair on the redo here, is quite aggressive with us as we make a little bit of contact with him. So it seems like we just can't get away from our fellow American in the Williams as we catch up to Yuki Tsunoda. By the way, also, if you haven't noticed already, obviously in the film, it's all based on the 2023 F1 season, but here in the F1 25 game, the only older cars available in the game are the F1 2024 cars. So they've kind of tied it in the best way they can with the tools available, because the oldest spec they had was just 1 year ago, 2024, because they obviously used the 2024 cars in Breaking Point, the EA Codemasters story mode. So you'll notice that it's not entirely one-to-one tied in terms of in the film it's based on 2023, and here it's kind of a mix mash of the two, which, to be fair, I find fascinating. You know, I wonder what the conversations were about the whole architecture of this mode, basically, and you know, at what point in the development cycle this entire concept was put together, because I feel like maybe if it was early enough they would have committed to actually putting in the 23 cars, but I suppose maybe it was later in the day where they had already made a lot of F1 25 where they couldn't go back and add a whole nother extra grid of cars just for 6 full chapters of the F1 movie, so that's kind of just accept what they could work with, basically, as we're making our way through now. So we've been talking about all that. Pretty easy stuff on Hamilton, on Norris, as inside of this mode, the wet weather racing really isn't a problem. Maybe it's just the upgrades on the Apex GP car here working wonders as we catch up to Zhou Guanyu, P12 in the Kick Sauber. Closing up now to Albon as well. It's going to be a ferocious dive bomb from so far back up into P11. Yellow flag. Oh! Zhou Guanyu with an engine failure. I don't know if that's scripted or not in the chapter itself. Let me know if you've played it. And if Zhou Guanyu retired for you, I don't know if that's just a random retirement I've got in my playthrough as we now gain on Fernando Alonso. Ocon just ahead as we're going to get squeezed by our fellow old veteran.
Fantastic finish!
A great finish at the Dutch Grand Prix, and we continue that sort of performance a few weeks later for the Mexican Grand Prix. Chapter 4, Joshua Pearce follows the regimen of his teammate Sonny Hayes, whose performance in the upgraded Apex GP car is turning heads in Mexico City.
Beautiful start, mate. Let's keep it up now.
So we've got a bit of a chunkier bit of gameplay in this chapter because the objective is finish 5th or above. And actually, finish just the full Grand Prix. We're loading in mid-race then after an electric start from Sonny Hayes in the Apex GP car. We're P11, just outside the point. So the objective is to get 6 cars into the top 5. And we've got 7 laps to go as we're getting past some back markers, blue flags activated, and the next actual proper car for position will be Daniel Ricciardo in the RB, or in 2023 it was the AlphaTauri, wasn't it, at that point, as Alonso pitting, so 1 free position. I think that maybe, or no, Alonso actually might come out just as we get to him on the pit exit. As we overtake Ricciardo, we use plenty of battery then because we see Alonso and we want to get past him as well to make sure we're in clean air to then chase after Esteban Ocon about 3 seconds down the road, but in a big pack then of Hulkenberg also. Lance Stroll has been pushed down the order. The Haas has overtaken a couple. Gasly's gone down the order, but we're catching Ocon in the stadium section. We sling it down the inside. That was a bit cheeky. Catching the Frenchman napping somewhat through the final corner, setting a fastest lap of the Grand Prix whilst we do it on lap 13, and now overusing ERS to try and gain on not 1 but 2 cars. Stroll goes for the move on Gasly, we go for the move on both of them, and now we've got the P5 in our sights, Nico Hulkenberg, but there's still plenty of this race to go, so the objective's 5th or above. So how far can we actually get in this race? It seems like there's quite a sizable gap after the next car along, which will be Russell, because we make quick work of Hulkenberg. Deja vu, we make the same sort of move we did on the Alpine prior. And so, yeah, we've got Russell 4.4. So with 4 laps to go, we can definitely try and catch Russell, but 19 seconds then to Lando Norris. So I don't think we'll be getting on the podium. Maybe they've done that for a reason, being law accurate. There was no podium here in the F1 film for Sonny Hayes at Mexico, but it was a strong finish, and so we're going to try and emulate the strong finish by trying to get Russell then on the second last lap. We've caught up to the Mercedes driver. We've hardly got much battery left, so we're just using hot lap mode and DRS mainly to get this overtake done as we get past him and then try and move through on the inside to kind of cover him off on the racing line. But the thing is now, with a slightly lower battery pack, maybe Russell has a chance to gain on us, and the tyre wear also is a bit of an issue now for us on the medium, and Russell, to my surprise, comes back at us. I mean, I know we're on medium battery, but still, the fact he actually had a good go, the tyre wear definitely was playing a bit of a factor there as Russell nips at the heels, but we are going to keep him at bay through the final sector on the last lap of the Mexican GP to bring it home in a real strong fashion and continue this fine form that Apex GP and Sonny Hayes are in. And I think that was actually probably the first post-chapter cutscene I could show you in full, because to my surprise, I didn't know that was going to come up. That was a full in-game engine cutscene that Codemasters then clearly generated, and also taken some inspiration from the film sort of camera work and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool. Bit of a surprise there. As we now go into Chapter 5, the Belgium Grand Prix, which, you know, lore accurate after Mexico in the season famously. Joshua Pearce takes to the grid with rival teammate Sonny Hayes firmly in his sights as the lights go out at Spa-Francorchamps. Just how far will Joshua go to settle the score?
It's lights out. He touched wheels. This is disaster for him.
Right, we've got a penalty for that run-in with Sonny. Come in and serve it now, please.
Absolutely, absolute cinema on his return to Formula One after the injury following Monza's incident. Joshua Pearce, we've taken him out. We've taken out the old man. We've put him in the old people's home, and it's time for us to drive our race, but that involves doing a drive-through penalty, first of all, which is unfortunate, but we'll take our penalty, and we'll come out in a pretty okay position, I think, just outside the top 10 and looking to get back into some points positions on the return with his upgraded Apex GP car. The first time Joshua Pearce is actually getting to feel and trial this updated, improved car, and the first man to chase down is George Russell. And to my surprise, in the middle of lap 2 here, Russell, actually a bit of a tough cookie to overtake. Thought I could get round the outside initially. We have to wait patiently for the next left-hander to get actually through on the inside. I thought we could just mince him on the outside on the off-camber right-hander, but instead got it done eventually, and now closing up to Sergio Perez. Fernando Alonso, Perez also not giving us too much room to work with, so the AI being a little bit more feisty now in this later chapter in the series as we close up now to Fernando Alonso. Don't worry, Fernando, we've taken out our old man. We won't be taken out. You're actually still young, mate. You're a rookie like us. You're a rookie like Joshua Pearce. Don't worry about it, man. You're safe. You're safe. As we try and now recover to 6th place. I've only just realised that's the objective then, 6th place. So that's just up the road, Oscar Piastri and Alexander Albon. We've not got too much battery, though, as we use a bit on the exit. We're down to 9%, so that's going to keep the McLaren in play as we go through Eau Rouge, up Radion, down to 2%. And so this is going to make us a little bit uncomfortable. So even though we've got DRS on Albon, Piastri comes back at us because we just don't have as much speed without battery use that the Australians clearly using down the Kemmel Straight. We do finish off the move and keep ahead, but a little bit of a rear end snap, and the McLaren has a look again. So probably the longest sort of consistent fight we've been given so far in the series of chapters, and it's from Oscar Piastri in the McLaren as we're gaining now on Albon, and we're going to be well within the 6-lap target of this objective. Once again, with the in-game generated cuts, I wonder if they're doing that on purpose, just not to spoil too much of the story, or I suppose maybe it's in those parts of the films, having watched it, it's maybe hard to give context because it really just was about what happened on track there at that point in the film. As we now go on to the final chapter in F1 the movie, on F1 25. It's the final race of the season, the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, Chapter 6. It all comes to this. With Apex GP's future on the line, Sonny Hayes and Joshua Pearce will have to work together and employ every strategy they can muster to have any hope of securing a place in motorsport history.
What's the plan?
Plan C, stay out.
Chaos.
Clean start, Joshua. Head down now. Let's go.
So just like in Monza, we are staying out, and it is time for Plan C, the infamous Plan C from the F1 film, which I'm now going to definitely reference in the future in my teams if it comes to that. Plan C, absolute foolishness on the grid, and the biggest teamwork you've ever seen to slow the field up and try and get positions you never probably would do so, as you make quick work of Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin, but Joshua knows what's up. Sonny is ahead, and it's Plan C activated as we try and catch up to the cars. He is pushing down towards us. We get Kevin Magnussen through the second last corner, Piastri and Verstappen, and then up the road it's a Mercedes behind Sonny Hayes. But can we get Oscar, who was a tough cookie in the last chapter at the Belgium Grand Prix? We've also got some pit stops for Tsunoda, so a free position then maybe here for Pearce and for Hayes as Piastri goes real slow through that left-hander. We're just going to nip ahead of Yuki Tsunoda, and so now we're up into P6 all of a sudden. Verstappen ahead in P5. I think it's Russell then next up behind Sonny Hayes in P4. So Sonny's running in a podium position, and all of a sudden we could maybe join him to maybe then chase after the next car along, which would be Leclerc in second place. Bit of a tall order though. We're going to need a bit of a rub of the green, or the F1 gods need to be looking down upon us, or maybe it's just going to be Sonny Hayes looking down upon us in this race, playing 4D chess on the grandest of stages as we get Verstappen, we get Russell, and we close up to our teammate who's in the podium spot. We're going to try and close up and then use him as a slingshot to catch up to Charles Leclerc, and then from there, well, we're going to have to just let Plan C run its course. If you know, you know. As we close up though to Sonny Hayes, first and foremost, need to get this move done. Hopefully he's not going to make too much of a difficulty out of this. Is just like in the movie, giving us a nice tow and then waves us by as we go through into third place. Hamilton, the producer on the F1 the movie, leading the way ahead of Leclerc in second place, but the Ferrari is within sight. Hamilton not so much, 9 seconds, so we are going to be able to catch up and look for the overtake on Leclerc, but we are going to need a Sonny kind of miracle to catch up to Hamilton and get that elusive race win to stop Apex GP being liquidated.
Through the left-hander they go, and there's contact. Hayes is spun round into the barrier. That's
I'll get it back. I'll get it back if I have to push it back.
It's all or nothing now, Sonny. Push.
The objective is now simple. Win the race. Driving as Sonny Hayes. If you didn't catch what just happened, there was a crash. Russell tapped us. Absolute, I just cannot believe it, really. The luck of it all. And a red flag occurred. And we've reset. We've overtaken Pearce with ease. Unlike in the film, Pearce is not going to join us at the sharp end fighting the top cars. He's been swallowed up by Russell Verstappen, because in this version in the F1 game, it is going to be all about us just catching Leclerc, catching Hamilton, and getting the race win on soft tyres. New soft tyres that we had because we didn't qualify in the top 10. So a new set of tyres that others have used already in the race weekend. And so we've made quick work of Leclerc, and now we gain on Lewis Hamilton. Fastest lap of the Grand Prix on the second last lap. It all comes down to this. Can we etch Apex GP's name in motorsport history and round out the F1 the movie chapters with a bang by completing the final objective in purple on the left-hand side of your screen as we gain on Hamilton? We should have DRS, yet we do. We don't have too much battery though, so we've used quite a fair bit. We're down to 6%. We're just going to keep it on hot lap mode at the moment as we go for the move on the inside. Hamilton covers it, so we fake from the left, go to the right then. We catch him a little bit unawares. Hamilton over the curb through the left-hander. He's still there though. He's got his nose in, and on the exit, he's now going to have DRS. Hamilton coming back at us. We're saving battery on purpose for the last lap because Hamilton will come round the outside. It's a strong left-hander corner usually for the AI, and the long way around has worked for Lewis. We're now wheel to wheel, nearly banging tyres as we go into the final sector towards the last lap. Hamilton hits us. A bit of contact here. Hayes, we're down to second now with him, but we've saved up to nearly, well, now over 50% battery. So you can see the the game plan here, it is simple, is to make sure that we have so much battery that we can just mince Hamilton on the main straight, and then we won't have to worry about defending or fighting into the last half of this race on this last lap here, because we've got so much battery. So we played 4D chess there a little bit, you know, thinking like Sonny Hayes would, very, very tactically and on purpose, waiting. And we're going to give Hamilton a bit of PTSD here as we dive down the inside on the last lap of the race in Abu Dhabi. We push him wide, and it's go, go, go to steal the race win away from Hamilton in the Mercedes. I was trying to make it lore accurate, by the way. I tried to push Hamilton wide. You know, obviously I realised after the fact that it was a funny little bit there, but I tried to make it so there was a Ferrari and Merc on the podium, because, spoiler alert, that's how it ends in the film. There's a Leclerc and Russell on the podium, but Verstappen's ruined it. He's got third place. Oh well, it doesn't matter. Here in this version of F1 the movie, we have won the race fair and square. And there we have it. Sonny Hayes has etched his name in Formula One history, or at least this alternate Formula One universe in F1 the movie, and we have unlocked his helmet for use in the F1 game. It was a decent amount of fun, you know. For me, probably was about an hour and 20 minutes of gameplay. We've edited it down, of course, but it's a decent amount of extra kind of content that, like I said at the very start of the video, we normally wouldn't get. It's the first time of its kind of getting this extra sort of playable, actual, tangible content of like a story mode with chapters and objectives, and not just simply adding F2 as a grid that you don't even get to use inside of career mode. So I enjoyed it. You know, it's going to be a very unique experience that we probably won't see again for a while in the F1 games. I kind of hope and wish there was more content of this kind of sort post-launch to keep the interest going in the F1 game even after the games come out. But, you know, for what it is, I enjoyed it. It was decent. I hope you guys enjoyed watching me play it through. If you haven't played it through for yourselves, if you have enjoyed the video, be sure to hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula One content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.